Welcome to my channel. This is Bruce the Boss, and today's episode is going to be Joe Rogan versus CNN and the horse dewormer controversy. But the main topic is, how can you trust mainstream media when they so blatantly lie and or can't tell the truth about something so obvious? By the way, if you're not yet subscribed to my channel, go ahead and smash on that subscribe button. Your subscriptions go a long way with being able to counter the narrative. Also, don't forget to like this video, comment on this video. Again, your interactions really help this channel and or this video get more views. By the way, and don't forget to smash on that notification button so you can get notified of my latest content as I'm putting out videos at least on a weekly basis. Now, as far as this my video here, I'm gonna first play a collage of clips about the exchange between mainstream media, mostly CNN, but you will also see some clips from the Young Turks and different people on MSNBC like Morning Joe and Joy Reid, all frame this as and literally tried to say that Joe Rogan took horse dewormer, which was a blatant lie. You'll hear that in the first clip. I'll do a little quick intermission, and then I'm gonna play a clip of Don Lemon bringing Dr. Sanjay Gupta back onto his program to double down on said lie. And then at the end, I'm going to wrap it all up with my 2 cents and a nice little bow for you. So stick through the entirety of the video. All right, let's roll.
It blows my mind that Joe Rogan just yesterday admitted to taking Ivermectin.
Ivermectin is something more often used to deworm horses.
CNN is saying I'm taking horse dewormer.
Rogan telling his 13 million Instagram followers that he was treated with several drugs, and he included Ivermectin on the list, a drug used for livestock.
Rogan said the word ivermectin. Yes, that's the deworming medicine made to kill parasites in farm animals.
Why would they lie and say that's horse dewormer?
So things are clearly bad, but they're being made even worse by people who have refused to take the vaccine and instead are swallowing horse paste.
Wait a second. He said that he got better because he ate cattle dewormer.
They must know that that's a lie.
You have individuals like Joe Rogan, for example, who don't want to take an experimental vaccine but will take horse dewormer.
Well. If it isn't old horseworm Rogan.
Ivermectin is often used to deworm livestock.
Ivermectin, apparently given to deworm animals.
It's a lie on a news network, and it's a lie that's that's a lie that they're conscious of. It's not a mistake.
Yeah.
They're unfavorably framing it as veterinary medicine.
Joe Rogan, he came down with COVID. He says he's been taking the livestock dewormer ivermectin.
They lied and said I was taking horse dewormer.
Ivermectin is a drug that is commonly used as a horse dewormer.
They keep saying I'm taking horse dewormer. I literally got it from a doctor.
You know, doctors say you could take it for humans. Yeah, but not for coronavirus.
He may not have gotten it from the feed supply store, but it's the same compound.
When you have a horse deworming medication that's discouraged by the government, that actually causes some people in this crazed environment we're in to actually want to try it. That's the upside down world we're in with figures like Joe Rogan.
Bro, do I have to sue CNN?
He also acknowledged taking a controversial treatment designed for animals.
Does it bother you that the news network you work for out and out lied, just outright lied about me taking horse dewormer?
They shouldn't have said that.
Why did they do that?
I don't know.
So you literally just heard in the whole clip there that all of these mainstream outlets are framing this as if Joe Rogan literally took horse dewormer, which there's no way from listening to all those videos that you can walk away from any of those segments and not think he took livestock medication. And towards the end there, you heard CNN's own medical expert, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, agree with Joe Rogan in that in terms of splitting hairs, his network or his organization did lie in their framing of what he specifically took. Now let's take a listen to the Don Lemon program.
But he did say something about ivermectin that I think wasn't actually correct about CNN and lying, okay? Ivermectin is a drug that is commonly used as a horse dewormer. So it is not a lie to say that the drug is used as a horse dewormer. I think that's important, and it is not approved for COVID. Correct?
That's right. That's correct. It is not approved for COVID, and
You're right. I mean, the FDA even put out a statement saying, basically reminding people, it was a strange sort of message from the FDA, but they said, you're not a horse, you're not a cow, stop taking this stuff, is essentially what they said, referring to ivermectin. Now, I think what Joe's point
is... It's been approved for humans, but not necessarily for COVID, right? Yeah.
That's correct. It's been used for a parasitic disease, for something it's called river blindness, and it's been very effective for that. But, just because it works for one thing doesn't mean it works for something else. Right. And, there's still a few ongoing clinical trials around ivermectin, but for the most part, if you look at the data, there's no evidence that it really works here. When Joe got sick, he took ivermectin. He also took monoclonal antibodies, which is, an infusion of these antibodies. So he took both those things. It's very likely it was the monoclonal antibodies that made him feel better so quickly.
Sanjay, always a pleasure. I hope this was but he did say something.
Now, a couple of things from that Don Lemon program. One, he was splitting hairs. He pretty much, I think, dragged Dr. Sanjay Gupta back onto his program in order to play damage control or cleanup by trying to say, no, we did not lie. And he was splitting hairs by saying, one, ivermectin, which I believe I am now allowed to say that word. I'm just not allowed to say that it has any form of efficacy whatsoever for COVID, which I won't, so I'm not. Ivermectin is a horse dewormer drug. That's what he said. There is a version of the livestock feed, yes, that you can get from one of those livestock stores or, however, it is not right to say that that's what Joe Rogan took. He took something completely different. Same manufacturer, same name, much different formulation, and the version that Joe Rogan took is used exclusively by humans, formulated for humans, won a Nobel Peace Prize for its treatment on humans to stop the, I guess you could say, replication of viral loads in one system. Two different versions, but Don Lemon initially tried to frame it as though the medication that Joe Rogan took was the horse version. Two different versions, you cannot mix them up. It's like saying to an adult, you take child medication just because you can find a Benadryl for kids on a shelf, knowing full well that a lot of adults take Benadryl to treat allergies and colds. No, completely two different formulations. If you didn't know, a lot of things designed for kids 12 and under is much different than the formulations of many drugs for adults and teenagers. And it would not be accurate to say just because you take Benadryl and just because you can find a kid's version of Benadryl that you take kid medication. Same thing. And yet Don Lemon was trying to split hairs by saying, yes, there is a livestock version of ivermectin used primarily for or exclusively for livestock, but has absolutely nothing to do with the prescription version that Joe Rogan himself took. Two, it is also not approved, the human version that is, not approved here in the United States for treatment for COVID. Cannot be. But how they were framing it, and there's no way you can look at those clips from CNN, Young Turks, MSNBC, but mostly CNN, because that's the network that CNN lied. They were lying by framing it that Joe Rogan took horse dewormer. He did not. The two drugs are not even the same formulation, same name, different formulations, different demographics of who it's used for. But he got Sanjay to try to play a word game and clean it up to say they didn't lie, when in fact he just doubled down on their lie. Now, I will say this, Don Lemon, while interrupting Sanjay Gupta, by the way, if you caught that, while Sanjay Gupta was trying to not defend, but show Joe Rogan's perspective, Don Lemon immediately interrupted him, likely to make sure that Joe Rogan is made to look crazy and not in any way sympathize and or try to be understood in the truth, but also to try to walk back legally by also admitting at the end there, or sneaking it in, that there was or there is a human formulation version. But he, one, snuck it in so quickly and so briefly that you'll forget about it. Two, he made sure he did not link that human version to what Joe Rogan took. He constantly tried to link or frame Joe Rogan's medication as horse dewormer. And my thing is, if it's so blatant that a news organization will lie despite the mountains of evidence to the contrary about something so minor, what else are they lying about? What else are they being deceptive in terms of their reporting and or framing of information that they supposedly report on? The other problem that they made, too, is the fact that Joe Rogan has a massive following, much bigger than CNN. In fact, CNN's ratings have been in free fall ever since the election was over, when they no longer had an orange man is bad to use to try to prop up ratings from those who are triggered with TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they haven't been able to hit a million viewers on any given night on any of their programs. In fact, Joe Rogan may actually have a much larger following than CNN, at least in terms of any of their individual programs and or anchors, whether you're talking about Don Lemon, whether you're talking about Chris Cuomo, whether you're talking about Anderson Cooper, whether you're talking about Brian Stelter. He blows them all out of the water in terms of his audience size and or reach on a weekly basis. And so it'd be different if Joe Rogan was a much smaller YouTuber who had influence or following, but much smaller than CNN's overall reach and or expansion. And a lot of mainstream media outlets can get away with that and being able to misrepresent a story and or do a retraction quietly. Meanwhile, the main story that they later retracted got all of the coverage, and the retraction got almost none in comparison, very much buried. Problem is, Joe Rogan has such a massive audience, regardless of people's political beliefs and or across the political spectrum. By Joe Rogan exposing the lies to his much larger audience and exposing the fact that CNN is doubling down on a false narrative, raising concerns of their trust, they get exposed in a much bigger way. The people who were watching Don Lemon pale in comparison to the size and the audience and the reach of a Joe Rogan. It is what it is. Unfortunately, Don Lemon, I know you probably hate to hear this, but compared to Joe Rogan, you are tongue-in-cheek news. Compared to Joe Rogan, you are more so insignificant and not much of a factor in the day-to-day opinions and or information of the average individual. In fact, I think that is largely why Dr. Sanjay Gupta went across enemy lines and had a 3-hour conversation with Joe Rogan, because he knew he would reach so much more people on Joe Rogan's podcast than he could ever reach on all of CNN segments or anchors and their shows put together. Okay, maybe not put together, but individually. And so I think, 2020 was the beginning of the Great Awakening around the world, as a lot of people are starting to wake up to what's going on in mainstream media and in the news. So that's a good thing. That's my video. That, again, if they are lying about something so basic, so small, as whether or not if Joe Rogan took a prescribed medication formulated and used exclusively by humans versus a drug formulated and used exclusively by livestock animals, particularly horses, if they can't even tell you the truth of which one he took, even though he's coming out and telling you what he took, where he got it from, and they can't even be honest about that and how they're framing it, especially in this day of the internet and social media and the availability of clips like that we probably didn't have back in the 90s. You could have gotten away with this in the 90s, in the 80s, in the 70s, especially since they controlled the airwaves in the days before there was internet. They got the messaging out, or they had control of what you saw and or didn't see. That's not the case anymore. So if they can't be honest about that, What else are they lying and or manipulating in terms of their coverage? And can you really trust them on anything? Again, that's the video. I want to know what your thoughts are, what you think. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you agree, don't forget to like this video, comment on this video, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. This is Bruce the Boss, and I'm out. Peace.